So OTAs are officially here for the Chicago Bears. We got to see some of the new guys in action. We got to see Caleb Williams make a few of his first throws of the year. Obviously, we don't really have 11-on-11 footage because nobody in the NFL wants other teams seeing their concepts and what they are trying to do with the offense in the early stages. But still, it is just cool to see some of this footage and get like a first look at some of the guys. I know there is a lot of excitement in Colston Loveland, and the Bears finally, after years and years of rebuilding, are coming off what many would say is a somewhat successful season. We have a lot to talk about in this video, a lot of news to break down. But before I get into everything, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 60,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so OTAs are OTAs. It's cool to see the guys out there, but not a whole lot to really break down. Again, it's just a first look. It's a glimpse at the guys to get all the nerds like me excited, but I'm not going to try to create too many storylines out of it that don't exist. So moving on, let's talk about what the Bears' path to the playoffs is in 2025 and how they can truly have success in the upcoming season. First of all, Ben Johnson has to come in and has to be one of the best head coaches in the league. He obviously brings a reputation for offensive brilliance from his time with the Detroit Lions. I have no doubt that he will, but Johnson needs to prove that his success in Detroit wasn't solely due to the unique mix of players and leadership under Dan Campbell. In Chicago, he must be able to adapt his offensive system to a new coaching staff and roster, particularly tailoring it to maximize Caleb Williams. Williams obviously doesn't need to reinvent himself. He showed signs that he is that guy and made some amazing plays, but now it's just about getting more and more consistent. So I would say for Ben Johnson, it's more about fine-tuning his game than anything. Johnson really needs to implement the sort of offense where Williams can showcase his playmaking ability outside of the pocket, because we all know that is where he is at his best, and that is where he can create those jaw-dropping plays. Let's take a look at and break down some of Caleb Williams' numbers from last year. He played and started in all 17 games. He was the first QB to do so since Jay Cutler in 2009. He had 351 completions with 3,541 yards, which really overall was not that impressive. It was middle of the pack, but man, if he could just get consistent, and if Ben Johnson can turn the Bears offense around and make it more creative, man, he could get to 4,000 yards so easily. I really do believe that. In terms of more stats, he had a 20-6 touchdown to interception ratio and an 87.8 passer rating. But Caleb did break some Bears franchise records for being a rookie quarterback. His 351 completions were the most by a rookie. He did actually break the yards record too, but one thing he struggled with a bit was his deep ball accuracy, completing only 23.5% of passes. So overall, the synergy between Johnson's play calling and Williams' growth is essential for the Bears to elevate their offense to a playoff caliber level. Also, another area that is definitely worth talking about and breaking down, and an area that is going to be so essential to what the Bears can do in 2025, is the offensive line. Really, the biggest thing for the line is just to stay healthy and on the field. It's hard as a unit to build cohesion with each other when you're not consistently out there. One position to really pay attention to right now is left tackle. Some people want the Bears to put together a trade package. Braxton Jones is the presumed starter, but injuries have put a serious strain on his career so far. Both Ozzie Trapillo and Kieran Amagaji have potential, but neither have proven themselves at the NFL level, and left tackle is definitely not a position you want to be iffy at, really ever, but especially with a young QB that likes to be creative and make plays outside of the pocket. The Bears have invested heavily in their O-line, with players like Drew Dahlman, signed from Atlanta, expected to anchor the center position. However, his ability to translate his performance to a new system still remains to be seen, but I have no doubts that he can step in and can be a big-time consistent player given the high expectations tied to his expensive contract. Another question mark on the offensive line is right guard Jonah Jackson, who joined the Bears from the Los Angeles Rams. Jackson's wide range of potential outcomes was a critical factor for the team's success. At his best, Jackson was actually a Pro Bowl guard with the Detroit Lions 3 years ago, but recent seasons have been marred by injuries and poor performance, including being benched last year. The Bears' confidence in Jackson, which was reflected in his trade and contract extension, suggests they believe he can return to elite form. If he does, the offensive line could be a strength. If not, it could be a glaring weakness that derails everything Ben Johnson is trying to do. At his best, Jackson was actually a Pro Bowl guard with the Detroit Lions 3 years ago, but recent seasons have been marred by injuries and poor performance, including being benched last year. The Bears' confidence in Jackson, which was reflected in his trade and contract extension, suggests they believe he can return to elite form, and if he does, the offensive line could be a strength. If not, it could be a glaring weakness that derails everything Ben Johnson is trying to do. Anyways, moving on from that, I know I'm kind of all over the place and there is no direction to this video, but let's talk about some more news regarding the Bears. The Bears have an important preseason ahead of them. Not only does Ben Johnson have to use the 3 games to evaluate a bunch of things and players, but all 3 games will be against some pretty good teams. And the Bears are gonna hold joint practices with both the Bills and the Dolphins, which should create some more competitiveness and fun over training camp. These joint sessions are really gonna create opportunities for everyone on the Bears to compete, and it's always better to play against different competition because going against your own defense that already knows everything can only go so far sometimes, in my opinion. Anyways, getting back to the personnel on the Bears, let's switch over from the offensive line to the defensive line and talk about what the Bears have on the front lines and how they are going to put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Additions like Dayo Odengbo, Grady Jarrett, and second-round pick Shamar Turner aim to replace departed players like DeMarcus Walker and Darrell Taylor. While upgrading the unit overall, the interior defensive line is considered solid, but the lack of a reliable third defensive end is a concern. Players like Austin Booker, Dominic Robinson, and Daniel Hardy will need to exceed their expectations significantly to fill this gap without further additions, but yeah, it remains to be seen whether these moves are sufficient and good enough to truly make this line what it needs to be. So it'll be interesting to watch it all unfold and guys find their roles. Overall though, right now, it is just great to see the Chicago Bears back out there on the field for OTAs, and Ben Johnson's intense presence can already be felt. Players on both sides of the ball are recognizing the fire that he brings and are adapting to the tone, according to many inside sources. You want a coach who's fired up, linebacker Tremaine Edmonds said. You want a coach with energy like that, and you want a coach who cares about winning, and winning in a dominant fashion. I definitely feel the energy from him. Here were some of the key moments from Ben Johnson's press conference, talking about how the Bears offseason has gone so far, and just some of his overall thoughts.
We've had a great offseason program so far. We're, call it 6.5 weeks into it now. The first 6 weeks went really well just from what we're trying to achieve objective-wise. We got a lot of players, not just as football is concerned, getting better in that area, but they're working hard in the weight room and conditioning-wise. We're bigger, we're faster, we're stronger as a team, and that was really the number one objective that we're looking to get done. And so that continues on now that we've hit phase 3. It's been nice to get out on the grass and get a little bit more full-speed football going. We're making mistakes just like we thought we would. Second day of install here today, and you could tell we had a little bit more mentals and more pre-snap penalties, and the little details kind of fell to the wayside. So we'll clean that up as we go, but the guys are working their tails off. It's been fun to watch them compete. It's been fun to watch the coaches coach, and really excited about the direction that we're headed right now.
That's really all I have to say for this video. Let me know how you're feeling about the Bears right now. If you enjoyed this one and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. And also, please let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.